Is it OK for Nigel Farage to have received almost £100,000 in gifts since he became an MP last year? Let's talk about this now. 020 7862 2222. MPs declared more than £1 million of gifts and hospitality in the year since the election. You might say fair enough. But the Reform UK leader, Nigel Farage, came out miles ahead of everyone else. He had the highest value of freebies. He was £98,709 of the total. The bulk of his gifts took the form of flights and accommodation for a number of trips to the USA. They also included an £8,000 helicopter journey and tickets to a boxing match worth £2,000. Meanwhile, the Prime Minister declared he'd only received around £17,000 worth of free gifts himself. So if you've got a total of £1 million and 100,000 is your leader, that starts to get a bit unsettling, doesn't it?
No, I'm not remotely unsettled because I actually look at the detail, which you very fairly mentioned. And these aren't just gifts. Largely, it's transport to the United States, it's flights, it's those sorts of costs. Now, if you're in office, you will get that anyway. If you're in the opposition, you have this thing called short money. Reform, if we're to have a leader who is going to make foreign trips, as all leaders should, then we do need donors.
Does he travel first class?
Let me finish. This was specifically a Reform donor. It wasn't just anything. Somebody already committed to Reform. So it's not as if he's saying, you give me the money and we'll do something. He's already committed to Reform. I'm afraid if you do need to travel, then it's got to be paid for.
What about the boxing match? Because he might then be beholden to somebody.
He's declared it. That's why MPs have to declare.
Yeah.
It's so that they won't be beholden to people, because we can all see if he suddenly makes a speech in favour of somebody who's given a large amount of money, that's the whole purpose of the register. I have to say that by the end of my time there, the thing had got so stupid that you actually had to declare every bunch of flowers that you got. Now,
because of abuse. That's what happened, isn't it?
But the idea that if you give a speech and somebody gives you a bunch of flowers, you're beholden to them, you must value yourself at very little.
You know why it happened? We had MPs who were staying in the Ritz in Paris, weren't talking about it, taking champagne, weren't declaring it. And in the end, they said, OK, you're going to declare everything, even biscuits.
Even biscuits, even bunches of flowers.
Yep, I know. It's awful.
Can I tell you about one of my declarations?
Yes.
It was a BBC teaspoon, but it was bent by Uri Geller. And he said, now that I've bent that, it's worth £25,000. So I wrote in the register, value nil, but according to Geller, 25,000.
Well, what do you think, Marvyn? Is this crazy, that maybe we're just pootling around here? It doesn't matter if Farage had £100,000.
Well, it definitely does matter. I think the first 100 days of Keir Starmer's reign was plagued with stories of Taylor Swift tickets, which I personally thought was nonsense at the time, but every single person on the right was having a field day dancing to the idea that there was something untoward about going to see Taylor Swift.
Because it was a freebie, because you were not doing it on the terms that the public were doing it on.
It either matters or it doesn't, right? And I do think that if Reform are going to come in, they have to reform things like this, and also they have to hold themselves to a higher standard. You can't be doing things that the current government is doing after complaining about them doing it, and then be the number one by such a large margin. Tickets to United States, last time I checked, were about £500. I don't know how it quite equates to
500.
Yes, I went there recently for £500.
You were in standard, weren't you? Or
I fly economy because I'm a normal regular person.
Yeah, but Nigel Farage won't have flown economy, will he?
I doubt it.
So if it's private and if it's business, and even if it is thousands, how many times did you go to get to 98,000? I want to be accurate. Yeah. 98 or was it 96,000? So as far as I'm concerned, the amount is significantly higher than anybody else. It's very, very high. It's about careless representation of your role in the public, and I'm very disappointed.
Did he pile in when Keir Starmer was turned out to have gone to Taylor Swift and Rachel Reeves had gone to, was it Olivia
Yes, but
Rodrigo?
We also had things like clothes for the Prime Minister's wife, and things like that.
Yes, but how can you disapprove of that and say it's OK for Nigel Farage to be disporting himself all around the world?
Well,
He's
he's not
unelected in
disporting
that
himself
capacity.
all around the world. He is travelling for political purposes.
Boxing matches.
He's travelling for political purposes.
He's a local MP.
And that was the most, that was the most of this huge sum was taken up in travel. It included a helicopter travel, it included air travel, it included rail
But
travel.
not the same as Taylor Swift.
Travel.
Not the same as
I don't think so.
freebies for a concert.
It just shows low awareness and self-awareness of like what it is that you're presenting. You stand for something. Your whole party is named after a change, and you are continuing the exact same behaviour that your voters or potential voters want away with. So
Why do
I want to see Nigel travelling. I want to see him meeting other world leaders.
As
I
the
want
MP
to
for
see
Clacton?
him, hang on, I want to see him in that role, and he can only do that if he gets financial backing, because he doesn't get any other money.
Clacton must be pleased.
Linda in the West Midlands, hi.
Hello.
What do you think? Is it
What?
is it unfair? How's the dog?
They've gone out.
You got a good item with Vanessa later about whether your dog disapproves of your partner, Linda.
Well, I don't have a partner, so that doesn't matter.
Well, he's been seen off. So, look, what do you want to say?
What do I think? I think Nigel Farage, it's okay for him to accept the things that they've got. Why not? All the others are doing it, so why shouldn't he?
Well, that's not. I mean, generally speaking, things don't become right just because lots of other people do them. That probably isn't. That might not work as an argument. I don't know.
Yes, I agree. You shouldn't do what other people are doing, but he's doing it to publicise himself.
Exactly.
I'm very much in favour of Nigel Farage and everything he stands for, and I'm going to vote for him in the next election.
Right.
Well, Anne
These
Widdecombe's
people
on
are
his team,
doing
of course.
nothing
Yeah.
for us. Pardon?
I was going to say, young Anne Widdecombe is on his team.
Yes, I know.
Yeah.
And I love Anne Widdecombe. I watch your show every time she's on. I absolutely love her.
Thank you.
And it's just a process. It's just a process for everyone.
There we are,
Everyone.
Marvyn.
I
I'm
mean,
sorry.
No, she did. What about me?
There's always at least one call for Anne to be Prime Minister. We've had two today. All right, Linda, thank you very much to you. So nothing wrong with it, and let's all grow up. Dave in Caerphilly, hello.
Good afternoon. Oh, good morning.
Good morning.
No, I think it shows the corruption that's rife in politics in this country. They're all in it for themselves. Now, I want politicians, my elected representatives, which is what they are, is to reflect my views, not the views of somebody who gives them a ticket to a concert, a new suit or whatever. They should be working in their constituency to find out what all the people in that constituency want and feel and represent it at the highest level.
Yeah. Is this a bit of an old-fashioned view, and that people ought to actually be doing, working for their constituents?
It's not old-fashioned. The fact is that Nigel does work very hard in Clacton.
Does he?
Yes, he.
What?
I would be very careful, because he does.
Does he?
Good. I'm glad Marvin's had that reaction, because I hope now Reform just lists all the things that he's done, even
Please.
recently.
I
really hope.
didn't think he'd been
However,
down
can I address the crucial thing?
Yes, okay.
You said, is it an old-fashioned view? And I'm saying, no, it isn't. But the fact is, politicians do have to play two roles. The role that they play in the constituency and the role that they play on the national stage. And if you're the leader of a party, you're going to have to play that role. And you don't complain if Kemi travels. Why are you complaining if Nigel
that is fair
travels?
enough. Yeah, Dave, what about the idea that, look, Farage has got a bit of a relationship with Trump. It's in our interests for him to have that relationship because he may be our Prime Minister in 4 or 5 years. So let's fly him over.
Well, why not? Because Trump is a bottom line politician. Well, he's not a politician. He's a businessman. Everything with Trump comes down to profit. We could use some of that in Britain, but we haven't got much of it. I mean, we've got a £28 trillion national debt. I mean,
It's 3 trillion yesterday. It's gone to 28. Is it 28 trillion now, is it?
A couple of weeks ago when I checked, yeah.
Blimey. That's bad news. Well, I think I could tell you what the difference is. Dave is counting unfunded state pension liabilities. That's the thing. Yeah, it is pretty bad. I try not to even look at that number. Dave, thank you. Virginia in Lincolnshire, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Tell us where you are on this, because we're quite evenly split here, aren't we?
I think they should ban all those sorts of things. I don't think they should be able to claim anything like that at all. However, if people wanted to donate to a local charity, maybe some of the smaller ones, any donations like that should go there.
What if it's in our interest for him to fly to the States to meet Donald Trump?
Who pays for it?
Do you know what? In the interest of the people that voted for you, why shouldn't you be with your constituents supporting local people's issues?
Anne will respond. Anne?
He does that. All MPs do that. But as I've said, if you're the leader of a party or you've got a major national role, you also have to fulfil your obligations to that. Now, it may not be the ideal system that we expect our ministers also to be constituency MPs, which doesn't happen in every country, but that is the system, and therefore they've got to divide their time. And one must be reasonable about this. And every time an MP goes on a trip, it doesn't mean they're neglecting their constituency. It means they've got a reason to go on that particular trip.
Can I just be very clear that Donald Trump will not be in power when Nigel Farage is potentially being elected into this country. So there is no need to build this imaginary relationship. And the last time he went there, the last time that I checked, I don't think he had any time with Donald Trump when he went there the last time in this election. He ended up not spending time. So for me, it's just a farce.
Donald Trump was shot at.
Yeah, it was a farce, and I think now that is where we're getting a lot closer to seeing. I'm not talking about the shooting. Him being there was a farce. He's spent that money, and again, it just, as the caller earlier said, it leads towards corruption, and we would like that to be removed as a part of our reform of this country.
All right, okay. Paul in Greater Manchester, hello.
Hiya. Well, firstly, I want to say I differ a lot with the lady who spoke a couple of calls ago, because I definitely don't want Anne Widdecombe to be Prime Minister or anyone in the Reform Party. I think this is just typical of Nigel Farage. He's supposed to be representing working class people. If this was Labour politicians doing it, I don't even agree with him being a presenter, to be honest. He should be 100% devoted to his constituencies. He should, maybe get a leader's wage.
In politics, you have people like Kemi Badenoch is the MP for... is it Saffron Walden, Sussex? Well, I can't remember. But she will also be doing other things because she's a party leader.
That's everybody can remember Clapton with Nigel Farage.
Yeah. So Paul, people do two jobs. They do operate constituency level and national level if they're party leaders. That's the defence, isn't it?
Well, he doesn't need to be a TV presenter, and I'm just so glad now we've got the chance of a proper left-wing party with Jeremy Corbyn, who doesn't claim any expenses hardly, Zara Sultana, who gives all her pay rises away to charity, and obviously she's not joining the party, but Nadia Whittam's another one. She takes half a wage. These are the kind of MPs I want to see. John McDonnell as well. Not Reform, who are not for the working class.
So they've got Zara Sultana and they've got Corbyn and they've now got you, so they're on three. It's moving. Thanks, Paul. That's the first time we've had a call about the new Corbyn party.
People are excited.
Later, it's the papers and everything else. Everything else. Find out why Nigel Farage has said he would fill his cabinet with non-MPs. After the debate, we're asking if Oasis are the best rock and roll stars.